Good morning. It's Tuesday. No idea what happened yesterday. I recorded my predictions as normal, and the recording failed miserably, so apologies for that. That does mean that today is going to be a little bit of a predictions and a recap video. So, the Monday game. Going into it, what I had expected to happen was they were just finishing up an operation. They were... excuse me. They were being told basically not to pursue the Dream Speaker, and they were being basically put on hold. Now, they ended up heading back to their construct. Their leader, Kim, dismissed himself to go take care of another mission. And basically, my plan was to give them a few days and see what they did with it. See if they had any investigations they wanted to pursue on their own, or what they would do given time. That was my plan going into the game. I also knew that Kim, who I said had moved off to the side, one of them days, I knew that he was going to have an encounter with the World of Darkness version of me that he had arranged. So I knew that was going to end up proving to be interesting, and I thought it might drive some of the later things that happened in the game. So, what happened? The group spent a few days crafting. I don't think anyone ever mentioned leaving the construct for any reason. They just all got to work on building stuff. Which, I mean, that's a completely valid way to spend your time. Meanwhile, Kim headed off, got prepared for his meeting, headed into Times Square, was met by a digital projection on one of the big screens that seemed to play only for him. Got told that World of Darkness Casey was not very happy that he had sent a team of his goons after him. Showed that the goons had been captured and subdued. And then decided to send Kim on a little scavenger hunt. Gave him a clue to follow. The clue took much longer for Kim to follow than I expected it to. Much to my own comedic delight, and also to my frustration. I think it was probably a matter of not being quite used to thinking of Mage as being in the real world. But he eventually called one of the other members of the group, Charles, to come and join him. The two of them eventually made it through the first and then the second and third, etc. clues, which eventually led them to a dimensional portal. Which Charles immediately went, whoa, hold on, we don't have authorization to cross through there. To which Kim decided to push him through the portal. Completely rational, logical, and reasonable acts, of course. Inside, they met with an old friend from our years of our previous Dungeons and Dragons campaign, a character called Susha. Sorry, no, they did not meet Susha. They met Sanshara. The two characters were quite linked, but no, they met with Sanshara. And then they met with World of Darkness, Casey. They basically discovered that Sanshara was Casey's avatar, much to their surprise and confusion. And he offered them a deal. Basically, he told them that he would provide hard evidence that the Nefandi had infiltrated and were trying to take over the technocracy in exchange for a peace deal so that the technocracy would leave the traditions alone. Charles was a bit shocked, kind of, with the whole, what do you expect me to do? I'm just, whatever. Kim said, sure, yeah, we can make that deal. Basically. I mean, that's not his exact words, but basically he was very up for the idea. After the conversation finished, Casey sent them back through the portal, where they arrived to meet the rest of their group, who had been dispatched when they vanished to find them. They met with the rest of the group, and Kim was immediately arrested. Basically because he was the officer in command, and he had violated the gauntlet without orders, without permission. He was then taken into the Flatiron, which is their regional hub of operations, where they met with the director, who denied any knowledge of any of what had been going on. Didn't show that they had been missing, didn't show that they had been ordered to be picked up, didn't show that he had been ordered to be arrested. And when they mentioned Nefandi, their local records did not show any signs of Nefandi at all. It was almost too clean, which should have been a hint that someone at the highest level was involved in this, like possibly the director. But it was not a hint. They didn't catch it. They basically got told by the director that he needed time to figure out what they were talking about, to figure out what could be done about it. They'd been telling about this whole idea of the Nefandi taking over and a split within the technocracy and all of this stuff. They mentioned where they got the information from, their old friend Casey. During all of this, Taylor and Jamie had stayed outside. They had not gone into the director's office for all of this. And as they start looking around, they slowly start to realize that a lot more people in black suits are milling around outside the director's office, and all of them look armed. And the two of them start getting a little bit nervous. Finally, the group are basically concerned about the director's life, but eventually they agree to meet him in the morning. I think they were pretty much guessing that they were going to find him dead in the morning, is I think where they thought this was all going. And then just as they get to the door, Taylor sends a coded message to Kim saying, there's like 20 men in black out here, guys. To which Kim closes the door again, leaving Taylor and Jamie outside with the men in black. And that's when everything hits the fan. They turn around to check on the director, find that he has two miniguns which have risen out of the desk and are pointed at them. Charles immediately opens a dimensional portal, and Doc and Madman, getting the quickest reaction, each fire off a shot towards the director and jump through. The director does take a glancing blow, but not a fatal one. And then Kim attempts a very powerful prime effect to purge him of, purge the director of being Nefandi, which fails because the director wasn't Nefandi. Not everyone who works for the Nefandi is a Nefandi, believe it or not. Fun fact. At which point Charles tackles Kim and throws the two of them through the portal as the miniguns open fire and fairly significantly damage Charles and Kim as they fall through the portal, leaving Jamie and Taylor outside the door with all the men in black, who just heard the gunfire in the director's office. And that's where we ended the session. So left it on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Have to see how we handle that next week and see how things go. That's it for today. Like, subscribe. Hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great day.